streaming live. You're listening to allflavasradio.com.
If you truly want more out of life, chances are you're not really going to fit in anywhere.
A pleasant good evening to you all out there in All Flavors Land. How are you doing? I am naturally... I am Wimbo77.
And I am naturally Lily.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, everyone. How are you all doing out there? How are you doing? And it was an absolutely beautiful day today.
It was gorgeous. I went for a nice walk at lunchtime.
Yes, I think spring has sprung now, and hopefully the sun will stay with us. The sun will stay. So we have lots and lots in store for this evening, and we have a special guest as well, Livingstone Gilchrist in the studio, or we will be speaking to him very, very soon about really being successful and how to really be motivated in life and in business.
Amazing.
Yes. So today, Wimbo, I keep thinking that naturally, Lily. I think we need to swap seats because I don't know who I am.
Oh my.
So, naturally, Lily, today is National Look Alike Day. It's quite interesting, isn't it?
Maybe that's why you keep on saying you're naturally Lily.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, because we're switching places, So that's obviously the reason why. And National Look Alike Day today, on the 20th of April, it celebrates those who look like another person.
Okay.
I remember listening to an audiobook the other day, and it was Charlie Chaplin. He went in for it was a look-alike contest. So he went in as himself and he came fourth.
I know, I remember seeing that he didn't win his own competition.
Yeah, how strange.
Very interesting.
So even Charlie Chaplin had lookalikes and they didn't even think that he was himself. How crazy is that?
It says some of the most famous roles that professionals have played. Professional lookalikes perform as entertainers, and some of the most famous roles that people have played are Elvis Presley and Marilyn Monroe.
I don't think we could get away with playing Elvis or Marilyn Monroe unless we were performing behind a curtain, perhaps. But that's the only way that we'll be able to look like someone of that caliber, I guess. Who do you think you look like?
I don't want to say it out loud, but I've been told that I remind people of Gabrielle Union.
Okay, Gabrielle. Yeah, I can see it. I can see that.
I don't know that.
Gabrielle Union. Yeah, no one's ever told me.
My uncle used to call me Moesha back in the day.
Oh yeah, Moesha. See, there you go, look alike. National Look Alike Day. And it is hashtag National Look Alike because that is exactly what it is. And how do we observe that? How do we observe National Look Alike Day?
So, how to observe. Celebrate by dressing like someone you will see today, or select a celebrity and dress up like them. Fix your hair like they do and talk like they do all day. If you've met your real life lookalike, share a picture. Have fun and post your pictures on social media using the hashtag National Lookalike Day.
So beautiful people, who do you look alike? Who have you been told that you look like? Let us know. And you can always call in as well. The line's open from 7 o'clock. 07895 134 713. That's 07895 134 713. So I look like myself.
But do you know what yourself looks like?
I don't, because we only ever see ourselves in 2D or a reflection.
Yeah.
Never from someone else's perspective. That's quite interesting, isn't it?
I find it very interesting that, and even twins that look alike.
Yeah.
They look at each other and think, oh, okay, that's what I look like, but actually they don't.
Interesting.
Because there's that slight difference, isn't there, between twins?
Because we can tell, because we have our nieces are twins, Leah and Iona, and I can tell the difference. Hello, girls. Yes, I can tell the difference. I'm sure you can tell the difference.
You can tell the difference. You can tell the difference. But I think, if they looked at each other, do they think, I look exactly like you?
I don't think anyone could really look exactly like, but then you can, like National Look Alike Day, we can look like someone, can't we?
There you go.
So let us know who you've been told that you look like. I'm drinking on the Halle Berry myself, but I don't want to be delusional.
Yes, own it, queen. Look like Halle Berry indeed.
Oh, not really. I'm joking. But one lady stopped me on the road once when I was younger. She goes, "Oh, your sister such and such daughter." I'm like, "No, that's not me." So she obviously mistook me for someone. Have you?
I've got a twin. Yeah.
What, locally?
Locally and in America, apparently.
Wow.
Someone sent me a picture. "Oh, Alicia, you at this such and such game?" No, I live in the United Kingdom. "Oh, this girl really looks like you," but it's clearly not me because I'm here.
See, there you go, beautiful people. So it is actually a real day because it happens. And the way that it was started was that there was this man named Jack Etzel, and that was in the 1980s. He was in Pittsburgh, and he was walking down the road, and then he saw this guy that looked like Humphrey Bogart.
Okay.
He had the cigar and everything in his hand, and he was like, "Hey, you look like Humphrey Bogart." So they spent hours asking people, who does this guy look like? And hence the day was born, the National Lookalike Day was born.
Wow,
and they logged it. So they went to, if you come up with a day, beautiful people, if you come up with a day that no one else has had, you can go to the Chase calendar of events and they will log your day.
I'm so going to come up with one.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
So we do a national day every single week. I just find it's a bit of fun just to find out what is actually
What's
in
happening
relation to
today.
this day. And so today, # National Lookalike Day. Let us know who you think you look like. And Bob's your uncle.
Lovely.
Yeah?
Do you know what else happened today?
What happened?
Harriet Tubman starts the Underground Railroad
Yes.
in 1853.
Wow. Amazing.
Was that
53?
100
70 something?
Yeah.
Yeah, 172 or something like. My maths not my mental maths is not very good, but I'm not here in the capacity of a maths teacher right now, so that's okay. Otherwise,
Yes.
Norman. Yeah, so she did start the Underground Railroad, but you notice there, Leash, that I didn't put much information underneath that.
I think that's because we've covered her before. So we have previously in the show given away prizes actually for information about Harriet Tubman. So it's just something to note that today in history, this is when that history started of the Underground Railroad. And if you are interested, then you know what to do, guys. We always tell you, go and do your research.
Yes, yeah, because I mean there were railroads back then, but this was her just going out and saying, right, I'm going to get. First off, she started with her brother, bringing her brother with her, and then she kept going back and going forth and coming back and going forth. So
she went back for her husband, didn't she? And
yeah,
he had gotten married to someone else. And whatnot, but yeah.
So what I thought was because we have touched on Harriet Tubman, and like Lily just said, it's good to go and do our research as regards to these things. Was looking also at an event that's going to be happening tomorrow, and I found it very, very interesting. It was the Black British Civil Rights behind the scenes, because we always equate the civil rights movement to the United States.
Yeah.
But were you aware that there was actually a civil rights movement here in the UK from it was 1964 to 1985?
Wow.
Yeah, so I found that to be very, very interesting. It is an event that's happening tomorrow at 6:30. And do you know what I didn't do? I didn't put the Zoom details in there, but it is called the Black British Civil Rights Behind the Scenes. We'll put that up inside of the chat room, so if you are interested, check it out. Just type that into the search engine. As Lily says, Google's your friend, and type that into the search engine and put events beside the side of it, and I'm sure something will come up.
I find it quite interesting, some of the topics that they cover actually. Black-owned housing associations that got accommodation for thousands of homeless black people in the 70s, black pubs in the 60s, Garvey's Afro-Asian House, Hostel Social and Advice Centre, the banning of black beauty shows at the Hammersmith Palais and community response. What was that, the black beauty shows?
Well, we've had black beauty shows. Mum used to do them. We'd have models highlighting, you know, like the Afro-Caribbean one that they have at Alexandra Palace.
So why did they ban it?
Well, I didn't look into that. I didn't look into the reasons why they banned black beauty shows at the Hammersmith, but it's just at the Hammersmith Palais.
I'd
And
like
how
to
the
join.
community related to that. You know, maybe we should have a look into it and see what that was all about.
I think this one's interesting. The black group set to combat suicide and loneliness
Wow.
due to racism that later provided shared childcare for working mothers and patrolled Brixton streets to protect against Ku Klux Klan members in '65. Klan members in the UK. Wow, that's
I guess they call that now, I don't know what the party is now, but in my day it was called National Front.
NF, yeah.
Yeah, so I know that, so maybe that's what they kind of morphed into. And there's, what's something party now? I can't remember what it is.
Sugar party.
We can't say that, but yeah, that it's the one that, the EDF, I think they call, no, EDF's the electric company, is it?
I don't know.
If anyone
I
out there
don't
could
know
tell
about
us.
these. It's right. They're called right wing or something, extremists.
Yeah, they're the extremists, but that's probably what they morphed into in this country. Because I know that we spoke again on the voting rights. Do you remember?
Yeah.
However, I mean, we have always been able to vote in this country as black people.
Yeah.
But there still has been a high kind of racist element in this country. So when reading that, it doesn't surprise me. And reading the fact that we're looking at the civil rights movement in the UK, that has to tell us something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the banning of...
I find it quite interesting as well how close it is to when I was born, like up into the 80s.
Yeah. 85.
It's I'm not shocked because it's still going on now. Obviously, we're still going through quite a tumultuous time in the UK, post Brexit conversations, post COVID conversations. We're still going through quite a tumultuous time when it comes to race and inequalities. But it's almost like in the 80s it died down. Everyone decided they wanted to be in interracial relationships, and
I mean, interracial relationships were from like 64, 60s. Well, before that. Because we've been here an awful long time. We've been here a very, very long time.
I know, but I feel like the period of from around the time when I was grown, a lot of people around my age were of mixed heritage.
Yeah, yeah.
It's almost like there was a boom in the 80s and 90s. Because it was more accepted, maybe the civil rights movement in this country made it a bit more accepted for those relationships to be more frequent with their children.
It did happen quite a lot. It happened a lot with the guys that came over, Windrush generation, and then obviously carried on, and even till this day, in that sense of having that interracial relationships, like it says, rich white men and their patronage of black power. I don't know what that's all about. This sounds like a really good event.
It does. Lucian on Instagram, hi Lucian, says that we have the EDL.
Oh, so EDL.
It's gone from KKK to NF to EDL.
Okay.
As a right wing movement in the UK.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think the tickets are up on Eventbrite for this event, beautiful people. I'm going to again put that link, I've just found it, link into the chat box in the chat room. So come and join us in the chat room and gather this information, because it's actually very, very interesting. I mean, all of the subjects, as well as we said that how brothers and sisters squatted empty derelict properties, fix them up, turn them into centres of black history and education.
Yeah.
Record shops and beauty parlours as scenes of resistance, as well as rich white men, I said, and their patronage of black power. What do you think that is, rich white men and their patronage?
And beauty parlours seen as scenes of resistance.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought that said seen as resistance.
No.
Rich white men and their patronage of black power. So kind of getting the backing from rich white men that saying, it's like at the moment watch TikTok, and there are a lot of, I'm going to call them the others, educating their brothers on what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. And I have actually seen, I find it very interesting that many of these other people are, back in the Black, Asian and other ethnicities, in stating, well, this is why Black people are so outspoken, this is why African Americans are so outspoken, this is why Black British people are so outspoken, because when you talk about culture it means this, when you talk about culture appropriation, there are a lot of vocal people that aren't of a Black heritage, that aren't of Asian or other ethnicities, that are being very, very outspoken. And it's almost like before they didn't have a voice, because they felt like felt a bit,
you can't speak up, you can't really say much on the subject.
You can't say much. If you say anything, you're seen as, being aggressive or whatever and just a troublemaker. But I think now that it's so in everybody's face that the situation, like the civil rights movement, the situation is really out of hand, and there are things being put in place, these same rich white men that were supporting the Black Power movement back in the 60s, 70s and 80s, it's just a resurgence of that, I think.
Yeah. And I guess there have always been people that helped. It's a bit like the writer of Uncle Tom's Cabin. Now, I can't remember her name, but she helped with the movement. I mean, she was slated for it. It was a rich white lady back in the States. She was slated for it, but there have always been people in our corner, and we have to recognise that as well. As much as we fight against certain things and we're fighting for our rights, there have always been people that would fight for us as well, so they have to be recognised when you think about it.
And I think someone made the point today at work that was talking about our students, but it relates in the same instance. When people don't speak, they're seen as, oh, but you're not supporting. But actually, maybe they're just getting hidden in the numbers of the negativity. Because you hear so much negativity that, the person that's in the background that may not be as vocal gets looked down upon. And I'm talking about, people who aren't of a Black heritage. Oh, well, you must be with them, you must be a racist, or you must be that kind of person because you're not speaking up about it. And most of the time they mostly want to speak up, or they are speaking up, but all we hear is the negativity.
So we got to recognise that there are ones in favour, and at that time we're touching on the point of rich white men and their patronage of Black Power. So I think that this sounds like a really, really good event to go to. So it's the Black British Civil Rights Behind the Scenes. And that's tomorrow at 6:30 till 8:15. It's not even on that long. So check it out. Some really great topics. And it says it's an illustrated talk highlighting the little-known Black British power and civil rights groups active all over London between 1964 and 1985, using Dr. Rob Waters' book Thinking Black Britain 1964 to 1985. And his detailed information map of London's many Black businesses, cultural advocacy and self-help groups. And those are the topics that will be covered. We'll put a link in the chat room as well there for you. And also it speaks of the Black American presence and collaborations, Marvin Gaye, Dick Gregory, etc. So one not to be missed, I think.
I think I may have to, I might get the first hour because I have something at 7:30, but I may get the first hour of it. It looks very interesting.
Sign up, because this is the thing. This is another thing. I can't remember what it was that I was reading. I think it's an article that we're going to cover later, and it was it's highlighting that Black people, that we don't like history in the sense of, but it's the history at school. Because obviously we can't relate to that. Whereas when we look at our history, it's so full. So it's well worth delving into that. Okay, so the question that we're asking, we were meant to cover this topic last week, and it was, does being a strong Black woman harm her mental, emotional and physical health? Is it a burden of strength? Yes, we're going to be looking at that this week, as well as what does it mean to be black enough, because there was something in the Guardian which was struck a bit of a nerve.
Yeah.
So if we get time, we will cover that one as well. So the word of the day last week was trapezium. Now, no one came forward, and we were meant to tell you what it was. And whoops, we forgot about that. So trapezium actually means extreme optimism, even under the most hopeless circumstances. Trapezium. Okay? Your thoughts, Leash?
Use it in a sentence.
Use it in a sentence. So, extreme optimism. And it's a noun, which means it's like a place, whatever, right? Give me a moment to think about that one. Give me a moment to think about that one. Okay?
Okay. What's the word of the day today?
So the word of the day today, do you want to let us know what it is?
It is adulate. So the word of the day is adulate. Should we just let them know what it is? So adulate means to praise effusively. So give someone a lot of praise. To pay homage to without exercising a critical sense of values, to admire, to be devoted to abjectly and excessively. So look at that person with adulation. I'm just, wow, I admire you so much, you're amazing, I love what they do. Like this gentleman, what's his name? Dr. Rob Waters, looking at him in amazement and thinking what he's doing is amazing.
Absolutely. Great book. I adulate. I look at his book with adulation. There you go. I could use that one in a sentence. But as for trapezium,
because we know what it means properly. That's
you
why.
might actually hear us as we're speaking tonight. That we might use some of these words. We might throw a couple in. And if anyone can throw when we throw these questions out there, if anyone can use the words adulation or adulate or trapezium, we will give you a t-shirt. All right, we only have one more exclusive All Flavors t-shirt to give away, beautiful people. So we will see how we go with that. Okay, so adulate and trapezium. We will see y'all in 5.
Stay there. We'll be back after these.
My name's Phil.
My name's John.
I'm 19 years old.
I'm 19 too.
I've got leukemia.
I've got leukemia.
Chemotherapy didn't work on me, nor did radiotherapy.
They didn't work for me either.
So now, a bone marrow transplant's my last hope.
It's my last hope too.
They found me a matching donor.
They can't find a donor for me.
I'm white.
I'm black.
I'm having a transplant next week that could save my life.
There are 24 times more white people than black on the UK Bone Marrow Register. If you're black or mixed race, join the register today. Visit aclt.org and see how you could be the one to save a life. ACLT unites to fight leukemia.
Rawview Music presents Alicia Banks on Upfront, a 7-track compilation, including the hit Love Has Found Its Way.
Love has found its way in our hearts today.
Sultry,
Love
clear
has
and
found
upfront.
its way in our hearts today.
Upfront, now available on iTunes and all major digital platforms.
Download and stream Love Has Found Its Way and the EP Upfront today at rawvuemusic.com, iTunes, or your preferred online platform.
Alicia Banks on Upfront.
Upfront.
Coming to a speaker near you.
Love has found its way.
Different tastes in music. Makes no difference what you like. If you want it, we got it. Right here.
AllFlavorsRadio.com, the #1 radio station on the net, reaching 179 countries in the world with the best variety of music.
And that was the Sounds of Blackness. Hold on, change is coming. And it surely, surely is. Now we have a special guest in the studio with us. And that is Livingstone Gilchrist. Livingstone, can you hear me?
I can hear you. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Very good, thank you. Good to be on your show. I've looked forward to this for a while, listening into yourself and Lele doing your thing, so it's great to be a part of it.
Awesome, and thank you so much for coming on as well. It's great to have you with us. And this is our part where we speak on unsung heroes, and I know that you well and truly are an unsung hero, Livingstone, because I know that you do a lot within the community. Can you tell us just a little who you are and a bit about what you do?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for that little credit there. I've not seen myself as an unsung hero before, but I guess in the context that you've said it, it does make sense because to give you a bit of my background, so the business I work in, I founded the business several years back, almost 12 years ago, MLB Learning Solutions. So MLB just stands for Mentoring, Life Skills and Business. And my business partner, co-founder Brenda Drummond, she and I have been working tirelessly, primarily here in North London, essentially just to look to empower as many people as possible to start up their own businesses, build a better life, hence why I do the coaching, the success coaching, and also we work with individuals to improve their career prospects, so providing the usual employability support from CVs, interview skills, building confidence, articulation. It's quite a bit, but we give thanks because we are in a privileged position to do what we do and do what we love.
Awesome. And how long have you been doing this for? How long have you been working? I know you said you've been working tirelessly.
Well, the business was started back in 2009, and we really ramped things up more so in 2010. And some people might recall that was the time of the previous recession, the one prior to this one. And many people thought, why are you trying to start a business when it's so challenging for so many people? But part of the reason we started the business was to help people see through challenge and see through change. And it's appropriate that you play the song Hold On, the Change Is Coming, because it's about aspiration. It's about looking beyond what we currently see. And if we're going through challenge, there's always a better day ahead. And that's how we see what we do. And we feel privileged doing the work that we do. And to a certain extent, it's not even work. When you're doing what you love and you can see the results manifest before your very eyes, it's so rewarding. So I truly feel grateful to be in this position.
And you are so right there. A lot of people would think, wow, starting up a business during the time of crisis, that you must be out your mind, right? But
yes. However, it does have its advantages also.
And you're 11 years on now, right?
That's right. Yes, indeed.
There you go. So what a great time to start. I'd say well done for that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah. So why did you choose your field of work then?
Well, to some people, when deciding what business to do, some people are motivated by the potential to earn. Nothing wrong with that. If that is your motivation, then so be it. But I always say to people, do what you love, do what you are able to do, and the money will follow. And so with regards to my business, my business partner and I, we came together because we were both volunteering at the time, volunteering our services to help others, and we recognized that we had complementary skills. So that just naturally led to us deciding to start the business. The demand was there, the need was there, the world was going through a challenging period, and we felt we could contribute. So that's why we did what we did. And years later, we're still doing it. We've enhanced and changed many things along the way. It is still very much a calling. So it's less about doing a business just for the sake of it. It's a calling. As you've heard the term, many are called, few are chosen. We feel that we were chosen to do what we do. And it's quite rewarding when we see, as I said before, a number of businesses get up and running because we've supported them, and there are many I can refer to, but I won't because of discretion.
Yeah.
However, it is quite rewarding to see people take control of their business lives or just pursuing their career path as well. We've been able to help.
Yeah, because I know that you've helped me in many ways when it comes to facilitation, and even given me access to workshop, a room to facilitate the workshops in. Sorry, and that going to you and asking for advice and really enabling me to kind of elevate myself in that regard. So I've seen you in action, and you're a very giving person,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. So as a success coach, how do you help people identify their purpose?
Wow, that's a good question. And I guess the best way I can reply to that is to remind everyone that we all have a purpose. It's fair to say that not everyone identifies their purpose.
Yeah.
So as a success coach, what I do is to go through a series of questions, as all coaches do. We ask very specific questions that will enable the individual to bring forth what they feel within themselves. As coaches, we always believe that the answer always dwells within the individual, and we are facilitators to help them to bring it to the surface, to identify who they are, what they're about, and what they will need to do to bring forth their life. It also is worthwhile saying that a person's true purpose is not about them. It is greater than them. So given that, what we do is we go through a series of processes, for example, identifying their core values, identifying where they've come from, how their background, their past experiences have shaped them. And through, again, a series of questioning, we identify what motivates them, where they feel inspired, drawn to, and able to contribute. And that goes towards helping them to identify their primary purpose. Especially, we have various things that we can say is our purpose. Ultimately, there's a primary purpose. And once the individual identifies that, we then put into place action plans to enable them to pursue that purpose, ideally pursue it with a passion. And there's a term I use where legacy is concerned. Often the interpretation of legacy is where we leave something behind. I encourage my coachees, my clients, to recognize that one's legacy should be lived here and now. So, I guess, just to conclude the reference to purpose, when the individual identifies their purpose, we encourage them to pursue it with a passion and ultimately live their legacy.
Awesome. Because you said it is for yourself, your purpose, it was a calling, and that you worked in line with that, as opposed to initially you volunteered in that role, and then something amazing has kind of come out of it. And the purpose as well it's servitude sometimes, isn't it? Being a coach, or it's very similar to life coaching. Well, it is. It is finding that core identity and then enabling that person to work in line with that.
That's right. Yes, very much so. Yes.
Yeah, and that is the beauty in it as well. That I find, like you said, legacy, lived here and now, finding our passion and working, doing what we're passionate about. Very much so. Awesome. So you've chosen another song. There's a couple of songs here. It was either The End People or Rising to the Top. What one would you like? Because we're going to play one now, and then we'll come back to you after that. What one would you like to play, and why did you choose this particular song?
I'd say I'd go for Search for the Hero. And the reason why is because there's a hero within each and every one of us. I mean, you were very kind to use the reference earlier on by saying I'm an unsung hero. And, there are times where many people, I'm just one amongst so many, including yourself and Lily as well, in the sense that we work tirelessly in the background, whether as parents for our children, whether as individuals within our community that help others, however and whatever and wherever. there are so many heroes out there, many of whom will never be given the recognition they deserve. So therefore, the song I choose right now is Search for the Hero, because there's a hero within each and every one of us.
Awesome. So with that being said, beautiful people, we will see y'all in 5. Sounds of them people there. Search for the hero. Yes, Livingstone. Very, very deep song, actually. Searching for the hero inside of us. And a lot of us, like you spoke of core identity earlier, a lot of us don't realise that there's so much inside of us that we can actually do.
Very much so. And if you think about that untapped potential, it is so awesome. I think sometimes we are limited by either fear, or we are limited by doubt, or we are limited by the unknown. However, if we are in an enriching environment, and that includes just being in the presence of somebody who believes in you and who will encourage you, that will help to tap into that untapped potential and enable one to move on to their greatness. There's a term I recall Les Brown used when I went on one of his seminars many years ago, and the words simply said, there are times where it takes someone else to recognize the greatness in you before you can see it in yourself. And that is so true because, sometimes we can be the worst critic of self. And this could be shaped by our past experiences, from where we were educated, where we lived, etc. However, that doesn't define, or that doesn't or shouldn't limit us. We are great individuals. We're all born unique, with a unique set of gifts and characteristics. So given that, it is our duty to identify our purpose. It is our duty to identify our calling. It is our duty to live the best life possible.
Absolutely. So true. And like you said, that some of us can get stuck inside of beliefs, unlimiting beliefs, things that others have said, teachers, whoever, that they can kind of dampen down that natural ability that possibly we have, and then we find it hard to bring it out. And you speak of yourself as a dream enabler. So could you explain that just a little bit more? I know you spoke about purpose, but what is a dream enabler?
Well, I guess the dream enabler just simply means a person that will help an individual to realize their dreams. And this can take the shape and form of so many things. However, not everyone gets the opportunity to either tap into themselves, to think about, to connect with, and ultimately to talk about the dreams, the aspirations, the goals that they have for themselves. So my role essentially is to look beyond just a person's business aspirations, beyond their career aspirations. What about you, the individual? What are your dreams? How do you see life? How do you see the future? And being a solutions-focused person, I love to mind map. So when I engage conversation with someone, whether it's a friend or even a client, I sometimes pull my notepad out and I just, scribble away in the background. And when we've got to a certain stage, I say to them, hey, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you yourself. And I just turn the page to them and I'll say, look, these are the things that you've been saying. These are the things that you aspire to. This is you. If you truly see yourself fulfilling these things, let's look at how that can be done. And one of the methods I use is something called the TEAR model, T-E-A-R. And that's about building emotional resilience. And the T stands for thinking, the E for emotions, the A for actions, and R the results. So in other words, the thoughts that we have will define who we are. They can be limiting or they can be liberating. So it's about cultivating the right thought processes, the right mindset. And then once we've got to a stage where we're able to tap into those thoughts, how about linking them with the emotions? So if they're thoughts of fear, and they're, you've got the fight or flight mentality where if you want something strong enough, you will fight for it.
Yeah.
But if you have fear linked to it, fear emotion linked to your thoughts, then we have to address those and identify what they are and move you towards a place of positive emotions.
Yep.
Once we've done that, okay, now let's take some action. It's all very well aspiring to great things or having wonderful dreams, but what are you prepared to do to get there? So let's take some actions. We'll then formulate an action plan. I'll then bring them forward. And of course, it's not about looking at the primary goal or the primary objective or aspiration. What about the things that you achieve along the way, the milestones? So it's about recognizing that you are making progress, recognizing that you are achieving, and therefore celebrating those milestones along the way. So when you see the results start to manifest and build momentum, then it builds your enthusiasm and your belief towards achieving that ultimate dream or that ultimate goal. So that's what I mean by a dream enabler, helping the individuals to identify what their dreams are, what they aspire to, and putting together a structured way of getting there to realize those dreams.
Awesome, because I know you've seen about having the right mindset and emotions where their fear, which is a negative emotion, if fear resides within us, then we can't have anything positive going on. So it's eliminating those things, and fear is actually quite a good thing if we utilize it in the right way, right?
That's correct. I mean, fear is a good thing. If you think about it, I'm going to give you an example. If a person's going to a job interview, now this job means the world to them, but they're nervous, they're anxious, they're hesitant. However, they know they'd only be called to that interview because they are qualified. They've sent their CV, they've applied, and that prospective employer has read what they have to present, and they say, this person looks interesting, let's call them in for interview.
Yeah.
So it's fair to say that everyone going to that interview potentially will be successful. The fear is what often holds them back. So it's how do you harness that fear? Before I go on stage or when I was presenting like yourself on radio, I've been nervous before the show starts. I've been nervous before I took the stage. Whether it's 10 people or in some cases I've spoken in front of thousands of people, the fear is how we harness and bring ourselves to a place where we're more comfortable.
Yeah.
So if we recognize that fear can be channeled into a positive, it means that we're no longer hesitant or reluctant to step into that fear. So I see fear as not being a bad thing per se. It's something that needs to be understood, harnessed, and cultivated to and help us to perform to our optimum level.
Fantastic. So, oh wow. So coming out of lockdown then, Livingstone, do you have any up and coming events that will be done in person, or are they online?
Well, not immediately. However, it's interesting you asked the question because I recall last year I've been asked to speak at various engagements or host events, etc. And as I'm sure you appreciate, many of them have been cancelled because where we had lockdown phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, we've all been confused or disappointed. However, I have hosted some online discussion groups. There's one organization that you may be aware of, you may have attended events in the past, the DDA, Diaspora Debating Association. Now, the DDA, Diaspora Debating Association.
Okay.
Although we don't have a website, we do have a Facebook group where a lot of followers regularly engage in meaningful dialogue and discussion. And my co-founder of DDA, Tessa, she is over in St. Lucia. And we've been having some dialogue in terms of getting a DDA event back online and doing it online. We did one last year during the first stage of the lockdown. It went down really, really well. We had guests from the US, from, I believe it was Barbados, etc. So we look to do that again, and ultimately we're looking to do that live, face-to-face, when lockdown enables that. So there are different events that I'm working on in the background. However, within MLB, we deliver 3 core workshops that take place every month. So from business startup workshops and masterclass to personal development, essentially the life coaching principles put into a 2-day workshop. And there's also a 1-day masterclass on career mapping, career development, and interview skills. So all those that I just mentioned are on our website. We have a full schedule of Zoom events for the whole of 2021 and into 22.
Yeah.
So should anyone be interested, they can just go to our website. I can put into the chat.
Yeah.
And just verbally, it is mlbls.wordpress.com. And MLBLS just stands for MLB Learning Solutions.
Yeah.
So mlbls.wordpress.com. And just go onto the website. You can just interact with us as well, send us a message, book into the workshops, you name it, it's all there for you. And beyond that, as I said, once I have a few things locked down, pardon the pun, of course, but when I've got a few events locked down, then I'll share them with you, because I know you have quite an extensive network and you've been very kind to extend these opportunities to other people as well. So I shall certainly keep you informed.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Livingstone, for coming on. And your last track, the Kenny Burke track, why would you choose that to finish on?
Well, good question again. You know, I choose that because rising to the top is about taking control, recognizing that we are all entitled. And also, I love the rhythm behind Rising to the Top. So it's about remembering this one life that we have. It is not a rehearsal, guys.
No.
We have one chance to make it work. So make sure you do what you can to rise to the top.
Awesome. Could you stay on the line? And this one is for you, beautiful people out there. So, beautiful people, how are you all doing out there on this beautiful April the 20th, 2021 evening?
Amazing.
I'm glad you're doing amazing. She's been very naughty here, multitasking. That's not fair. All right, so we were speaking, obviously we've done our National Day as well as the Civil Rights Movement, and we had just a wonderful conversation there with Livingstone Gilchrist from MLB Learning Solutions. Come and join us in the chat room, beautiful people. He's put up all the links in there. Like he said, he has 3 core workshops that he does throughout the year. So check out his website, mlbls.wordpress.com, just to see what events he has coming up as well. As he says, they are remote. They're online, so that's one wonderful thing that came out of last year, or isn't it, Lily?
Doing things online, I think that was an eye-opener to know that you can be anywhere in the world but still have all of these resources available to you. So.
Yes, amazing. So, and us here, isn't it? Like we said, we're here. Thank you, George Flavors, enabling a platform for us to give people what they want, because our people, for us, by us, I've been crying out for these things for a very, very long time. And it's all a matter, as Kenny Burke said there, it's all a matter of rising to the top.
Yep.
Right?
Definitely.
So that's what it's all about. Now, we did have an item on the volcano that's erupted in St. Vincent. It was meant to get Maxine, or Marcia, should I say, a lady that's doing a drive for this. So we will have a bit more information and we'll let you know a bit more about that. But we asked a question last week, didn't we, Lily, about does being a strong black woman harm her mental, emotional and physical health? Is it a burden of strength? Yeah. And I know that, and it was Nyambi, she says, well, aren't all women strong?
Yeah.
But the point with that was that when we delve a little bit deeper into the article, we'll see why we've referred to black women per se, as opposed to not just all women, because we are all women.
Yeah.
And we all have similar struggles. But as for the black woman, her struggle is slightly, it's hard. And she's more susceptible to dying earlier than any other group.
Yeah, but I think that's got a few... Yeah, okay.
Yeah? Why do you say that? Why you?
I think there's a number of reasons why we die sooner than our counterparts.
Right.
One of them is the fact that we are seen as strong.
Yeah.
Especially in the medical sector. I remember reading something, and there was a doctor who, he's known as a doctor of medicine, I cannot remember his name, but he used to do experiments using black women, and he would do it without anaesthetic because he said that black women don't feel pain. And this mentality, especially in medicine, has for some reason filtered down to our day, and it's actually still in nursing books today, that statement that you would think that addition on addition on addition on addition, something like that would be amended, but that has been seen in some nursing books now, that black women don't feel pain, they don't need as much pain relief as their counterparts. I feel
pain, trust me. Maybe we can manage it more, so maybe they worded it wrong. Maybe we can manage it more.
No, I disagree.
Yeah?
I fully disagree.
We all have different levels of pain at thresholds.
Yeah, I feel like we are... The reason why we may not go for the pain medication is because we feel like, and this is in response to this question, is it a burden to us? We feel like we have to show this strength, and I'm going to talk specifically about, for example, childbirth. Our ancestors, many times I've heard our ancestors would be telling the grave, don't need an epidural, you don't need the drugs, you can do it. And it's almost like you failed if you take that strong pain relief, because you have to. You're a woman, you're a black woman, you can manage the pain, you're all right. When actually, when you're in that moment, as we all know, we're crying and we're begging for the pain relief, and we want the epidural, and then we get given the epidural and then get made to feel like we're a failure.
Yeah, that's why we're speaking on how the expectation of strength harms black girls and women. So it's that expectation of strength. So when we fall down, like you've just said, it makes us feel even worse than we did at the beginning, because we've not been strong enough not to combat what they've said, oh no, that we can pass that threshold of pain.
But I feel like that's from our upbringing.
Do you think so?
Yeah. I actually, partially, yes, we can blame the others for this, if we look back at slavery and things like that. But I think the inherent habits that were gained however many 100 years ago has been passed down from generation to generation, and now it's our upbringing that's saying to us we're strong enough. It's not them telling us that we're strong enough.
Again, going back to breaking those generational curses, and I was just speaking to someone about that today as well, to Debbie, about that things are so inherent and instilled within our DNA. So if your grandfather down the road was doing certain things that were undesirable, then it's going to have an effect on us now. And like you've just said there, so it's breaking those curses and saying, right, no, the buck stops with me in that sense. But in this article here, it's the Ghanaian American author Mary Nana Ama Dankwa. She wrote that mental illness that affects white men is often characterised as a sign of genius. White women who suffer from mental illness are depicted as spoiled or just plain hysterical. Black men are demonised and pathologised. Black women are certainly not seen as geniuses or even labelled as hysterical or pathological. When a black woman suffers from a mental disorder, we are labelled as weak. And weakness in a black woman is intolerable. So that's quite... Everyone's got a level
and
of what it's called.
And that is clearly evidenced in history. White men that had a mental illness were some kind of phenomenon, because most of them... And I don't think it was always mental illness. I think it was things like... autism, or they may have been high on the spectrum and seen back in the day that was seen as a mental illness. He's not like everybody else, he's mentally ill, but he's an amazing person. Women were just put in nut houses because, you know, even things as simple as an orgasm was seen as being a hysteric. You're hysterical.
Something so natural as well, isn't it?
Flung in a madhouse. Black men, can't even speak on that, can we? With mental illness, it must be
It just seems to be part
of, just crazy.
Yeah, or part and parcel. That is just how black
That's
some
how
black
they
men
are.
are.
Yeah. And then the black woman, hysterical or weak.
Yeah.
You must be strong-minded. You can't. We don't suffer from mental illness.
And that's in what you said there earlier about taking the painkillers, right? Because it says here that too often black women struggle with expectations and responsibilities that lead them to neglect their own health and well-being. So like you said, she could be struggling, but oh no, my mum said no, don't do the epidural, and you're struggling. Well, that person telling you not to do that, but you need to, your needs need to be addressed.
Yeah.
And they're not being met because you have to be strong and not seen as weak.
Yeah.
It's quite a lot to. It is a burden. It is a burden. It is a burden of strength.
Even things as simple as being sick in the office, being sick at work. We, maybe not so much now, but we tend to have lower sickness rates at work because out of fear of what happens if I keep on having too many days sick, I'm going to lose my job. Whereas the counterparts know how to work the system, so they can kind of get away with it. And then they do tend to be the ones that they hide their illnesses for so long that it gets to a point that it's quite bad, and then they will be forced, when it would have just been maybe a day or 2 days off, they'll be forced to be the ones that are on long-term sick because they've left the problem so long.
Yeah, so there's an overall silence about how black women and girls can focus on their mental health and well-being. And I think that we do put ourselves last in a lot of instances, like you just said there, to the point that we keep going and going and going and going and going and going because of the expectation.
Yeah.
And then we're the ones that will suffer for it. When
And I was just going to say as well, when it comes to mental illness, it's very strange. I was just teaching this on yesterday, and I made the point that I was talking about filling in medical histories. And as a female with mental health, anxiety and depression, for example, I would more tick, I'm asthmatic, not having an attack for the last 16 years. I'd be more prone to tick that than do you have mental health, even though next to that mental health question it says in brackets anxiety and depression, because it's almost embarrassing. I don't want people to know that I have, I'm suffering with those things, or I have suffered with those things, even though they'd be more in the present than that one bout of an asthma attack that happened 16 years ago.
I think a lot of people, the way that they look at these things as well, things such as anxiety and depression is just a very larger form of sadness. And when we're happy and elated, because we can be elated, we don't have to go and see a doctor for that. So when we're depressed and we probably can't, we're in our feelings or whatever, we don't fully understand it. It's just the other side of elated happiness.
I know, but when you're diagnosed with it, it's...
But then it's people giving us labels, because we can get over those things. We can actually live and think, oh, you can get through that.
I agree, but I don't disagree. I agree, but I'm on the fence about that.
Right, yeah.
Because I think that even though you can get out of depression, there are things where, we've spoken about this before, there are things where it is an illness, it needs to be recognised in an illness, and being as we're speaking about black women with mental illness, we have to accept that depression is an illness. It's not just a form of sadness, it's extreme sadness where sometimes you cannot pick yourself out of it. Someone needs to physically drag you to the GPs and say, do you know what, this is not right, she's not okay, or I'm not okay, something needs to happen about it. And it's not a quick fix. It's not one of those things where it says, oh no, I was just a bit unhappy, I don't have to tick that box, because you do have to tick that box. And as much as we don't want to accept it, that response is kind of brinking on the line of why we feel like, no, but we have to be strong. No, you don't have to be strong all the time.
No.
And that's an indication of a time when you think, no, I'm fine, I'll get over it. And I think that's also not just to do with the women, I think that's to do with the men as well.
Yeah.
In that instance.
It's quite a lot to accept to that degree, but it says black women are denoted or we're described as super women, and in fact sometimes we just don't have it in us. But we do push through it to our own detriment, especially when we're not being in touch with our mental health and well-being, and making sure, like you said, when it comes to things like anxiety, when it comes to things like depression, when we're trying to hold something down with those things dragging behind us at the same time. But again, it's the expectation of what people expect as to the reasons why maybe we don't want to approach them, or we don't want to accept these things.
It's funny that this lady, Amma, says that being described as a superwoman is typically meant as a compliment and received positively when compared to other blatantly negative stereotypes such as being sexually aggressive, lazy, loud and ghetto. But she said, I find that many consider strength as a birthright of womanhood.
Wow.
So it's almost like you're hazed into, oh, you must be a black woman, you're strong, you can stand up for yourself, you don't feel pain.
But you said that earlier, didn't you? When it said it's something that's inherent within through generation after generation. That's something that's kind of expected of us as black women, that birthright of black womanhood to be a superwoman. Well, no, today I don't feel like a superwoman. Today I don't feel strong. Today I've spent half the day crying. Because I don't feel worthy, but I've got to put on a brave face, come out for everybody. And not really be true to myself. That's what Livingstone spoke about there. I think we've done it as well on one of my courses about the core identity. And getting down to it, because some of us will say, well, who are you? And you say, well, I'm a mother, I'm a this, I'm a that. Well, no, that's a role that you play, but you as a person. And sometimes a lot of the reasons why feeling strong and going about it that way is because we don't really know ourselves.
And I think you just hit it there when you said that who do we identify as, and one of the points she talks about is being a mother. As a mother, you're supposed to be strong. As a black mother, you're supposed to be holding it down. What, your house is messy and the kids them is, and actually when you look at our counterparts, they're like, well, I just about brushed my hair this morning and had a shower, and they feel no way about saying it. But if we're to go and speak to family members, or a family member comes over and they're turning up their nose at the fact that, yes, my children are a bit wild today, but they're happy. Yes, there are dishes in the sink, but they're fed. Yes, there is a bag of laundry over there, but it means that they're wearing clean clothes because they're not wearing those dirty clothes that are in the wash. But we feel embarrassed about that stuff because people coming in and seeing all of that means we're not strong enough to maintain our home. But as a mother, that's the role you play. As a mother, are you caring for your children? Yes. Are they happy? Are they fed? Are they clean? That's the strength you should feel, not the disappointment in yourself that someone else is coming and looking at you as a woman, not being able to hold it down.
But you've also hit the nail on the head there as well, because you said, in speaking about being a mother, again, you've taken yourself out of the equation. And you've not, even though, yes, you've tackled all those things, when you look at the aftermath of, the kids are fed and the dishes are in the sink, you're not coping well. Oh, not you per se, but I'm just saying that person in general may not be coping well, but the children are looked after, but they've not looked after themselves in a sense when it comes to mental health and well-being, and they're in that cocoon, and sometimes when we are in a bad place, it spills out into the home.
But I agree with you. I do agree with you. I do think what is in your head is in your house. But I think there are times when we feel like we really beat ourselves up for the fact that we have spilt those emotions out. in the environment, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And we haven't given ourselves the props for doing what we have done in that day, or in that week, or in that month, or whatever.
Yeah.
And the strength that we've shown in other ways.
Yeah. But how much time, beautiful people, how much time do you take out for yourself? And this is women I'm talking about, when it comes to mental health and well-being. Do you go for that walk when you're not feeling great? Do you have a spa day for yourself? And that doesn't mean going out to a spa. It doesn't mean going to a spa. It might just mean you washing your hair. It might mean you doing your toenails and your hand nails, and just addressing yourself, because sometimes mothers, you don't have the time to do that.
No.
Yeah.
And it might not even be you don't have the time. You do have the time. Oh, I've got an hour to myself, but everyone's still in the house, and I just want to go to the toilet by myself.
Yeah.
But that's not doable because everyone wants to come and talk to you while you're on the throne.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's something as simple as that.
So I think that is one of the a very important thing, is to take that time out for yourself and to address one's mental health.
Yeah.
Because we all have up days, and when we're having those up days, wow, elation, and we don't have to worry too much about it. But it's on those come down days. What do we do when it comes to that? Because it says it's a silent health crisis.
Yeah.
It is a silent health crisis, that black women have lower income jobs, more caregiver strain. So that's what you was talking about, doing the mother role, but then not taking care of themselves. Less access to healthcare, higher exposure to traumatic events. Look at a lot of the black mothers suffering, sons been killed on the road, and they're having to. We spoke of that lady, was it Duke a few weeks ago, whose son was murdered, and she still isn't over it. So that's
years ago,
that exposure to those traumatic events, greater physical health problems than white women. That's quite interesting. And all of which are associated with the onset of intensification of mental illness and psychological distress.
I feel like there's a reason though for this higher health problems in white women, especially when it comes to, if you look at the things that we have, we suffer with in our community: high blood pressure, diabetes. Our food is extremely rich. If we were eating this back home, we would be eating it fresh. We would have the sun to help us. We'd have vitamin D. We'd be eating good. We're in this country, or we're in a Western, in air quotes, a Western world, eating the same foods that we would have eaten back home, without the same benefits that we would have had back home. But I also feel like some of these medical guidelines and the numbers that they're putting us up against, you can't put everybody in the same basket.
Yeah. And it's quite funny, I was listening to a show recently, a friend sent it over, I think it was Unconscious, and it was a doctor on there, and he was highlighting the reasons why things such as high blood pressure and diabetes type 2 can be reversed.
Yeah, it can.
And the core situation, or the core what is contributor to those things is our cholesterol.
Yeah,
that's the core. He says you got cholesterol, they give you statins.
Yeah. And
from taking those statins, then it's the onset of diabetes. But that's all for another show, beautiful people. We will touch on that. And you saying that those things are reversible. Good exercise regime, diet can tackle those things that you've spoken to. And it did say there that a lot of the things to do with this mental health, or the onset of these mental health problems, one of the things is that we don't take care of ourselves when it comes to our health.
Yeah, but I think with all if you have a worse off health conditions than others, that's going to affect your mental health as well. You're going to think, I'm not healthy, I'm not happy.
Yeah.
And especially with a lot of black women, they take a lot of pride in what they look like, and if you are unhealthy, a lot of these things can lead to things like weight gain, bad skin, feeling just very, very groggy and horrible within yourself. And that's obviously going to affect your mental health and give you some psychological distress. So it's not surprising with all these contributing factors that you're going to feel a bit downtrodden, and you're going to feel that you're not going to take care of yourself because, you know,
it's just,
feel like
it's
you're
just
hitting a brick
norm. It's
wall.
norm. You just get on with it,
Yeah.
and you continue with the stereotype
Yeah.
of being that strong black woman.
Yeah.
Let's speak after the break. We'll continue with that. Okay, beautiful people. And if you have something to say on the matter, please feel free to call us, and we'll continue in on the conversation.
Call us now on 07895 134 713. That's 07895 134713.
Stay there. We'll be back after these.
My name's Phil.
My name's John.
I'm 19 years old.
I'm 19 too.
I've got leukemia.
I've got leukemia.
Chemotherapy didn't work on me, nor did radiotherapy.
They didn't work for me either.
So now, a bone marrow transplant's my last hope.
It's my last hope too.
They found me a matching donor.
They can't find a donor for me.
I'm white.
I'm black.
I'm having a transplant next week that could save my life.
There are 24 times more white people than black on the UK bone marrow register. If you're black or mixed race, join the register today. Visit aclt.org and see how you could be the one to save a life. ACLT unites to fight leukemia.
Raw View Music presents Alicia Banks on Upfront.
All Flavas Radio plays what you want to hear when you want to hear it 24/7.
Have you ever wondered what therapy is and how it can help with our mental well-being? To find out more, please join me every week on a Wednesday for the Wednesday Wellbeing Show, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. on All Flavas Radio with Darnell, the therapist.
Hi, I am Wimbo, and this is
Naturally Lily. Join us every Tuesday evening between 6 and 8 for the Drive Time Radio Show,
where we talk about things that are for us, by us, on current events and matters of the heart. AllFlavasRadio.com.
See you in the chat room.
This is a very important health message. My name is Errol McLeod.
Black women and girls, when it comes to mental health and how, you know, the expectation of strength harms black girls and women. And we've seen there that we have the expectation and the responsibility to be strong. And when we're not strong, that we're seen as weak, as well as by doing that, by owning that strength, that sometimes our mental health and well-being goes overlooked. And really, it is a matter of, it is becoming quite a problem in society because we won't go and address certain issues, and then things just kind of take a downward fall, yes. And this is, we want to be in tune with ourselves, beautiful people. We know we are in 2021, and as Lily said there, that years ago they said that black women, we didn't feel pain, and it's still in the editions, the encyclopedias today. These things have to change, and it's all right to feel not strong at times, right?
Yes, it is. It's all right to feel that you need support. It's okay that you need to feel that you need a bit of help. It's okay to not feel strong.
And do you know a point that the article made? It says that black children are more likely to be victims of serious violent crime, making them more likely to need treatment for post-traumatic stress disorder. Yeah, and although you spoke of us or black women looking after their young'uns, that could be the knock-on effect from young people, because young people are very observant and they see things. We try and hide things from our youngsters. I know we've spoken on the radio and saying that, oh no, our kids don't see certain things. We try and hide things from our youngsters, but they see.
Yes, they do.
And this could be a knock-on effect, or that you're out there working so hard to make things done. Latchkey kids going home, no mother. It's an onward battle in some instances So these things need to be looked at and addressed as well.
Yeah, because I think we feel like we must, especially in today's day and age, we have most two-parent working households. It must be done. We both need to put the grind on, and I want to be contributing as much as the other half is contributing, and you know, A, B, C, D, E. But actually, back in the day when you had that mum that stayed at home and the dad that went out to work, as much as we do think, oh, that's such a backwards situation now, actually, how many of those children grew up with quite rounded views of what life should be like? And I think sometimes we need to sit back and think, is it worth me not raising my children? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Like, so not being there for them when they need be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because being that person that does go to work every day, that is, it's needed in most cases, in a lot of cases. But if it's not, and you need that strength to say, actually, I need to spend time where it's appropriate, that's also strength within itself, to be able to acknowledge that, you know, acknowledge the steps that need to be taken for you to be able to support your family.
Absolutely, because mental health and well-being is something that wasn't looked at much in the past. Like, you know, for if we had those issues and you were labelled, as we were all given labels. And it's funny because I'd done a video on, do we own those labels? Because sometimes you was given a label when you was a kid and you're still wearing that label when you're a big 40, 50-year-old person. Yeah, so it's a matter of, okay, you was given this, but can you transform and come out of that into your own mind, into being, yes, there are some people that maybe need medication and all that kind of stuff, but that was given by someone that could have even been experimenting. We don't know, because back in the day they used to do a lot of experiments on young people. Okay, so not owning those labels, but like I think Livingstone made the point about empowerment and coming out from that. And just owning who you are. So going back again to the core identity, knowing who we are, understanding that, okay, do you know what? I'm not feeling too great within myself. I need to have a timeout. I need to take a break and go readdress, realign, and come back.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, because it's this very serious matter when it comes to our mental health and well-being. It's so important that we are in touch with it.
And we do embody strength. That is not even... It's not even a conversation. We do embody strength. Everybody knows. It's kind of contradiction here, but everybody knows that we are very, very strong women. We can contend with a lot, but that doesn't mean you have to. That doesn't mean, oh, I know that I can take the verbal abuse at work because that's just what they're like. No. Strength is also being able to turn around and say to someone, you need to check yourself. You need to calm down. I'm not being aggressive. I'm not being intimidating. I'm just telling you.
It's really sad that you put those labels on, because then coming with being strong, those other labels come along with it.
Yeah, that is.
And they would never see it as being assertive or being conscientious or being any of those ways, but seeing it from a negative kind of standpoint. And it's again because when we looked at the top of that chart and we saw like the white fat males are geniuses, the white ladies are spoiled or one way shape, or the black men are pathological, and then the black women are weak.
Yeah, we're always at the
That's
bottom.
why we've got to. It's not putting
that
on face though, because that is just sometimes how we are.
But it's not even about. It's not even saying that's how we are. If someone's calling you aggressive, this is linking the strength and aggression. If someone's calling you aggressive, that is a compliment. That is them saying, you know how to hold your own, but I don't like it. That is what they're saying. We just need to learn, and this is me talking to my sisters. We need to learn how to adapt that aggression, assertiveness, how to adapt that into the situations that we are in. And I do think that it was a gentleman that said it when he was bringing to attention, do we know how to blend into certain situations. And he was talking about in the financial industry, he worked in a bank and he was the one that was getting all the promotions, but it was because he knew how to carry himself when it came to being professional and things like that. You can be aggressive in the workplace, but when we talk about being aggressive, it's you have to learn how to do it in a way that they can't even turn around and say it's aggression. They won't say you're being assertive because
that's a good word. It's a positive word.
They're not going to say assertive, but they're not going to be able to say, "Oh, you intimidated me," or that was a bit aggressive.
So it's the approach.
Yeah,
it's the approach. And sadly, in saying that, we know we are termed to be a certain way, but in, like you said, certain instances we have to know how to tone it down and put it in a democratic kind of way,
or not even tone it down, know how to come back. Someone says to you, "Oh, Wimber, you're being really aggressive. I don't know why you're being aggressive." The comeback for that is, "I feel like you're being a bit passive aggressive, actually."
Okay.
You're the way you are coming across to me is seeming, I feel like you're being a bit intimidated. It's to know how to. It's not being argumentative. It's not causing not being a troublemaker. It's not making a scene, but it's just making people know that I know you're trying to label me, but actually you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
So beautiful, women. We are addressing our sisters today, and we have sisters. We have wives, we have aunties, we have mothers too. And sometimes the strength, we may want to see that strength in them. Sometimes they don't have it within us to be strong. And also checking in on their mental health, seeing how they are doing, helping them to cultivate as well in our young daughters, they don't have to be strong if they don't feel to be strong.
Yeah.
But helping them to see that their well-being, their mental health is very, very important too. But if we're not aware of it,
how can we teach it?
Right.
Yeah.
So just keeping that in mind. What is the 10x rule saying to us, Lily, tonight?
Very, very apt.
Okay.
Today, be unreasonable.
Okay.
So it says, no, that is not an error. It does say unreasonable. In my book, Sell to Survive, I introduced the notion that the successful salesperson must be unreasonable with his or her client in order to consummate the sale. This clearly flies in the face of what most of us, that is, to be reasonable and logical. Being unreasonable requires that you act without rational consideration and not in accordance with your practical realities. Our practical reality is that we're strong.
Yeah.
That we don't feel no pain. And we should just keep quiet and let people just beat us down with their words. Be unreasonable.
Yeah, so that's the practical reality. The reality is that we need to be unreasonable.
Yeah.
And let people know how it is.
Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm not feeling strong today. Please don't cross me.
I'm not in the mood. Okay. I just want to. I'm going in my zone. This is my new thing now. I'm going in my zone.
Yes.
Phones on. I'm going in my zone.
Right. Stay in the vortex.
Stay in the vortex.
Stay in the vortex, beautiful people. Okay. Yeah. And then once you're in that vortex, no one can take you out of it. We've said that before. So be unreasonable, but beautiful people, all of us, male, female, our mental health and well-being is so important that it's literally like going to the gym.
Yes.
I have things on my website, onethingabouthistory.com, which will be moving to a new address soon, sweetminds.com or sweetmind.co.uk. And there are lots of mind exercises in the membership area. So mini mind workout on a daily. So my regime is I'll get up, I'm listening to a book called Think It's Not What You Think. It's not who you think you are, or who you think. I will check that, but it's not who you think you are. It's about thinking, and it tackles a lot to do with ego, and really getting to know yourself, and if things such as ego come into play, how we can manage it in order not to be too pushy onto someone else or putting ourselves onto other people. So addressing the mind, but also addressing the body. So even if you do 10 minutes a day of exercise, physical exercise, or go for a nice little walk before work, that's a good thing to do, as well as a bit of meditation. I've dropped off the meditation, and I've actually wrote in my journal today after a good week.
Wow.
Normally I journal most days.
Yeah.
But I've just been extremely busy. However, journaling is another really good way to, again, honing when it comes to your mental health.
Because you're putting your thoughts on paper, isn't it? And then you're making those the realities you want to come into place, you're putting those down on paper, and the more you write it, the more you think it, the more you see it, the more it becomes a reality. So it's nice to get things out.
Yeah, so try one thing in the morning, beautiful people, just at least one of those things. And do you know something? There are so many really good audiobooks on YouTube. Yes. You can listen on the go if you don't have time to take that time out and get up slightly earlier. Listen on the go, so it sets you up for the day. It puts you in the right frame of mind to tackle the day with optimism, to tackle the day with trapezium.
You used it, trapezium.
There you go. I tackle the day with trapezium, beautiful people, and I have a great adulation for meditation.
Sorry, guys.
There you go. So we used it, beautiful people. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you for joining us tonight, Naturally Lily and myself, on the Let's Talk Drive Time show. I want to shout out all the DJs on allflavasradio.com. High five to George Flavors for being the captain of this vessel and really giving us a platform to go out and speak to everyone as regards FUBU for us and by us. Now, following me tonight will be DJ Laro. I'm Wimbo77. You can catch me that. Hit me up at Wimbo77 on Instagram, as well as not forgetting the All Flavors Radio Facebook group. Please become a member. Join with us there. And what about you, Naturally Lily?
I am Naturally Lily. You can find me on Instagram at naturally_Lily89. That's my tag, yeah.
Awesome. So, beautiful people, if you'd like to know what's coming up on allflavorsradio.com in line with the DJs, please check out the schedule. Tomorrow we have Charlie Muir with the General Disarray show, as well as Darnell with the Wellbeing show. And then we have other DJs coming on for the rest of the week. So do check out the schedules. And as I say, DJ Laro follows me tonight. We want to thank Livingstone Gilchrist for coming in tonight, and again you can catch him at MLBLS, let me get that right, Solutions at WordPress. So please check him at mlbls.wordpress.com for up and coming workshops that they have. They have 3 core workshops, so thank you so much, Livingstone, for coming in. And yes, I think it is Luther Vandross's 70th Earth Strong. It would have been his 70th Earth Strong today. Luther. So we're going to leave you with this one. And we really do thank you for your time. Thank you for choosing allflavorsradio.com. We love you guys. And we're here every Tuesday. So I guess all we've got left to say, Naturally Lily, is we'll see y'all on the other side.
Good
Take
evening.
care.